All right. Hello, State of Tech friends. So this is the live stream, and I wanted to go live and just kind of talk and see what happens. I mean, this is a brand new thing. I did a video that I put out last week on building a live streaming computer, and the building of the computer went really well, and even the initial tests of using that system went pretty well. But I started to run into some problems with like having multiple camera angles and different stuff like that. Turns out even the equipment that I'm using, the manufacturers of that equipment, don't have a whole lot of information on how to make their equipment work when they try to do things like what I'm trying to do. So it became a little bit of a challenge, and I've kind of got it figured out. Obviously, I'm here kind of testing it live, and hopefully, maybe I'll get a few of you joining in and chatting, and we can, communicate together and talk tech and whatnot. I'm going to pull it up on my tablet here. I just need to try and figure out the best way to see any chats that are coming through. So if you have any questions, definitely ask them. I'm going to do my best to respond to those. I've got them up on the screen so I can see things here. But I wanted to tell everybody a little bit about the setup here and then what I want to do with the whole live stream thing. Because for any of you who are subscribed to State of Tech, you've been here on the YouTube channel for a little while, you probably know that it's completely random. I mean, I basically will talk about, review, or provide information or make videos on whatever tech-related stuff I'm using. It's not, a traditional kind of technology YouTube channel where, whoever the host is or whatnot is talking about all the latest stuff that's coming out. I'm not on that level where companies are sending me things. I don't get things for free. I mean, I get a few things, but they're not, things that I typically would make a whole video about. But a lot of times, all the tech that I use, I'm purchasing for a purpose of my own. Someone says, right, bro, I'm not too sure if maybe you're not agreeing with me on whether I get stuff for free or not. But I really don't get anything of note for free. Sure, I've gotten some cases for free, or maybe a little accessory or something, but I use a lot of Sony products. I've never gotten anything for free from them. I use a lot of Apple products and stuff like that. I don't get anything free. I buy most of the stuff that I use. The DJI drones that I review and that I do some content on, buy those with my own money that I use for my business. Oh, how are you? Cool. It's all right, man. I just appreciate you joining in on the chat. And some people, I mean, the reason that I kind of went on the whole little tangent there is not because of what you said. It's mainly because a lot of people really don't believe me. It may look like I spend a lot of money on technology and stuff, and I do, but I use a lot of it in my everyday business, and I think that that's something that maybe I would like to be more transparent about, is that I use my drones for my photo and video business. Pardon me. I use that technology for, and I actually get paid for the work that I perform with that. So, sorry, I have a call coming through. But anyways, the technology that I use because I want that to differentiate me from other people that are in the similar lines of business that I'm in. One of the reasons that I'm playing with this whole live streaming thing here is because I want to figure out ways to do things different. I want to explore what is going to be huge, which is live streaming. It already is huge, in the online gaming space, but live streaming is just going to get bigger and bigger, and content that's all edited and crafted nicely and put together and then uploaded, which is typically what YouTube is. The majority of is on YouTube. A lot of people are going to be going live. A lot of people are going to be sharing things live. Live content is kind of the future. And so I want to play in that space. I want to experience it and figure out the best way to kind of be here on YouTube with all of you, and like how can we all communicate and you know, talk tech and share life together and all that stuff. So I did that video on building my live stream setup, and so I wanted to kind of do a video just showing how all of that went and how the live stream setup works now. So I have the camera that's in front of me, which is a Sony a6500. That goes into a digital recorder, which is also a monitor. It's hard for me to show that to you right now because all of my cameras are kind of fixed. But I'm going to do like a video walkthrough of this whole streaming setup soon for anybody that might be interested. And feel free to jump in if you have any questions about anything else, like that's not live streaming related, like a video that I uploaded or a topic or something like that. Like, I would much rather like chat and talk with all of you than like just try and talk and come up with stuff to say. So if anybody has anything to say, put it in the chat. Let's talk about it. But with that said, I'll just talk about the live streaming setup until we have some other topics. So Brenton, what's up? Things are going well. It's raining outside. We need the rain, so I'm okay with that. But I'm inside hanging out with all of you, so life can't get any better. But with that said, so the setup here is the Sony a6500 going into a digital recorder, which typically is what records the video that we go and edit. That is what makes our YouTube videos. But now that's actually going into that streaming computer, and into that streaming computer is what you see now. And I'm using software called OBS, which handles the live stream. I've got a green screen behind me, and you could probably tell a little bit, there's like a little bit of green cast on me. It doesn't do as good of a job of green screening as Adobe Premiere Pro does when we use Ultra Key to key out the background. And I don't have like my typical Ditch Auto background behind me because I just haven't had the time to like go and set up all of those specifically. I wanted to get in here, not Ditch Auto, I'm sorry, StateofTech, my StateofTech background and everything, which, you know, is typically in the background of most of the videos. I will get that in here soon. I just haven't had the chance to do that yet. So with that said, I also have a camera that's above me, and the camera above me I can switch to, and then I can throw myself down in the corner. The camera above me is also an a6500, and that goes into another digital recorder, which then also goes into the computer. So I have two cameras that go into the computer, and I can switch between just having that top view camera, which will be great because, you know, then I can do, you know, stuff here with the iPhone or an Android phone. We could do some live stuff. Pardon me. And then I don't know, it'll just be a fun experience. I want to do, oh, I cut out the mic. See, that's something that I must not have gotten set up all the way. Sorry about that, and thank you for bringing that up. I did not notice that. One of the things with OBS is that if I switch camera angles, I have to make sure that there's an audio feed that comes, because the main audio feed is through the main camera. These are things that I need to get this is why I'm live streaming right now, because we should have called this the beta live stream. We're testing things. But anyways, the top camera, when it is live, should be getting a feed from the camera that's in front of me, the audio feed, but apparently it's not. And I should be able to see that down here. Are you using HDMI with capture cards to get the cam feed? Yes. I'm using Elgato capture cards. One of them is an Elgato 4K capture card, and the other one is an HD Pro 60 capture card. The reason that I ended up with one of each, even though this live stream is not 4K, is because I was running into issues with using two of the same capture cards. And I think it really comes down to the Elgato firmware, or the Elgato drivers, not being able to handle two cards at the same time. Now, I was actually on the phone with Elgato for like I don't know, almost 2 hours the other day, last week, and they don't seem to really have a whole lot of knowledge on how to use their own equipment with more than one camera. Better go back to school. Yeah. This potentially could get a little advanced with the whole live streaming thing. So with the Elgato cards, they're HDMI in, and they also have an HDMI out, and then the capturing here is what you're seeing. And so I ended up ordering a 4K one just because I was thinking to myself, those do use separate drivers. There's a 4K specific driver, there's an HD specific driver, and if maybe both of those cards will work because they're separate drivers, but the HD card, if I had two of those cards, I think that it crashes the driver for the second card. I don't really know. Something was wrong. I wasn't able to get two camera angles. And then also the desktop. So just to kind of show you here, I'm going to get this. I mean, I guess I could show you this screen here. If I go to desktop, I should still be getting the audio feed. You're seeing my YouTube live thing in the Creator Studio. And then you can see what's on my desktop. And so I can kind of show you what I've got going on here. And we can do anything like desktop related, which could be kind of cool. So it's just another way to kind of communicate and learn together, which is kind of what my State of Tech channel is all about here. So that's one clean desktop. Thank you, friend. The clean desktop is because this is my live streaming only computer, and you should see the desktop of my editing computer, which actually is pretty clean. So the desktop is a messy desktop is a messy mind, in my opinion. Like whenever my desktop is a disaster, I have a hard time focusing. I don't know if you're the same as me. That just might be one of my weirdnesses. But yeah. Adam says hi. Hey, what's up, Adam? Brenton says, are the capture cards fast enough to use an iMac as a second display for a laptop? I had a client ask me how to do that. Let's see. Let me try and understand what you're saying. Fast enough to use an iMac as a second screen for a laptop. So I think what you're saying is to have your laptop as your main computer, use one of those Elgato capture things so that you can then use that as a second. So with the capture cards, they are not for like secondary display. They're literally for like displaying your screen on another device. So you wouldn't necessarily be able to use it for a secondary display because it doesn't work like a graphics card. A graphics card, if you had like dual outs on a graphics card, like dual HDMI outs or dual DisplayPort outs, you can run one of those to a monitor and one of them to another monitor and have like dual screens and drag between those screens. Like I have that right here. Like if I drag down below, or you're not seeing my screen. I need to get better at this. Let me go back to this here. So if I drag down below, my mouse goes off the screen and down into a second monitor that's actually below that monitor. And that's what I have OBS in, which is the software that kind of controls this whole live stream deal. You would need some sort of a secondary display for that. You would need some sort of secondary output, sorry. The Elgato capture cards are for capturing that display. So if you had one of those on an iMac and you were running your laptop to it, you would be using the iMac to capture what's on the other screen, not to create a secondary display. So I hope that makes sense. It would be a much easier thing to like show than it is to explain it. So just trying to keep up with the chats here. Yes, clean desktops are great, but they don't always stay that way. Okay, so they want an HDMI input for their iMac so that they can use the laptop on the iMac screen. Okay, I see what you're saying. So that you, like, say you get back to your home office or whatever, you've got your iMac, but you also have your laptop. You want to be able to open your laptop and be able to, like, be working with your main keyboard and your main mouse and your main iMac, but then, like, drag the mouse over onto that laptop and, like, work on that laptop. is what I think you're wanting to do. There is, oh, I wish I remembered what it was off the top of my head. There is actually a piece of software that runs on a Mac, and you install it on both your Macs, and then you can access multiple desktops from one computer. And I used to use that. I'm trying to remember what it is off the top of my head. I haven't used it in forever, but I had an iMac, and then I would have my laptop set up next to me. And you can use the iMac. They want the iMac as a monitor. Yeah, they want the iMac as a monitor for the laptop. They want to use the keyboard and the mouse of the iMac. Is that what you're saying? But to control the entire laptop. Now here's the reason why I didn't have to use that piece of software anymore. Okay, got it. So I didn't have to use that piece of software anymore because Apple's whole screen sharing thing got so good that, and it was so fast on the refresh rate, that I could share a screen from another Mac just by connecting to that computer. You know, like on a PC, I would use Chrome Remote Desktop to access another computer, and I can use Chrome Remote Desktop to access another computer right now if I wanted to. That's pretty much connected anywhere. But if you have multiple Macs connected to the same network, those Macs will show up in your Finder, and you can connect to those. All you have to do is make sure that you have that feature turned on. So if you go into System Preferences and go under iCloud, I think, or sharing or something. I know they've changed it, and I'm predominantly on PCs now, so I'm not as up to, I can't remember all the settings, but if you go into your iCloud settings, scroll down to the bottom, there's an option that allows you, it's back to my Mac, you want to enable that. You want to make sure that screen sharing and all that stuff is turned on. And then as long as your laptop is powered on and, you know, you might have to have the screen opened on it, you can just remote into that computer and completely control it from your iMac. Pardon me. It would use the display of your iMac, the keyboard and the mouse of your iMac, but you'd be able to access and use the entire laptop in that way. It's definitely a good way of doing it without any additional software, without anything. It's just another way to do it. So, who's threatening you, Adam? Harry's threatening you. You know, a live chat, and I don't have any moderators, and so I'm hoping that everybody, you know, is nice to each other. I don't have any moderators in the chat yet. This is all brand new for me. But let's try and keep this clean and a healthy hangout for all of us friends. And then eventually I will you know, get a moderator and stuff in here just so that we can make sure that we're all being nice to each other. But anyway, so let's get back to kind of, you know, why I'm doing this. With the live chats, I definitely want to, or with the live streams, I definitely want to start doing more discussions on technology and topics. And I don't know if necessarily State of Tech is even you know, the best topic anymore, because we're not covering everything. We're talking more about smartphones and little cameras and drones and stuff like that. That's what I end up talking about a lot of here. But at the same time, I want to talk about and I want to discuss topics that are important to all of you. So definitely look forward to having more live streams like this and talking with more of you in the chat, because hey, you know, it's all about just exploring technology and learning together, and that's kind of what I get excited about. Cool, the Phantom 3 standard, the Phantoms are fantastic. Really enjoy the Phantoms. I have the Phantom 4, and I enjoy flying it. Just don't get to fly it as often as I would like to. I've definitely been flying the Mavic Air a lot lately, because I got that one. It's super small and easy to carry around, and I've been just really impressed with the quality of device that little thing is, and you get decent photos, decent video out of it. It's not as good as the Phantom. I would argue and say it might not even be as good as the Phantom 3 standard, but it's just so small and easy to take around with you pretty much anywhere. Yes, I did get the Mavic Air, and I have a video of it here on the State of Tech channel. So if you want to take a look, there's the video there. Definitely take a look at it afterwards. I have some videos, like for those of you that are into drones. I have some videos that I'm going to be doing that are like photo and video specific over on another YouTube channel that I run called Ditch Auto. It's a photography and video based kind of YouTube channel, but I want to do a lot more in the kind of realm of drone photography and drone video over there, because here we're talking about tech, we're talking about how to use our stuff, but photo and video specific, definitely want to do more of that over in the Ditch Auto channel. So make sure to check that out over there. So enjoying like all of you guys having the chat. If you have any questions, I would love to, answer those. Let's see, what tech channels inspired you to start your channel? Oh man, let me talk really briefly about where like this whole channel even came from. Like when the first iPhone came out, I waited in line and bought the first iPhone. I had been an Apple user for a few years at that point, and was just like super excited about the iPhone. And so I went out and got the first iPhone. People were asking me tons of questions about it. And then when you were able to download apps and whatnot, people were like, is that app worth it? Like, is it any good? Like I don't want to spend $1, $2 or whatever on an app if it isn't any good. So I started reviewing apps and talking about different apps. And I had a podcast that I did for a lot of years and a YouTube channel on that. And then that kind of turned into like, let's talk about how to use our devices better, and let's learn, how to use technology in different ways and whatnot. And that's where this channel has kind of come about. Like we'll do some reviews and talk about some different technology, and then like maybe a new smartphone will come out and we'll drop like 20 different how-to videos on how to like use that one. And so this channel's like always been kind of really random because of that. But I would say like, other YouTube tech channels that I watch that definitely inspire me is like, I love MKBHD or I can't remember the acronym that he uses, but I like his channel because he doesn't screw around. Like he's just, to the point. He doesn't waste anybody's time. There's a lot of channels that waste people's time. So I really like his channel. Dave 2D is fantastic. I love his channel. Super, simple and informative. And I love the graphics and stuff that he, does. His channel's just super clean. Really enjoy that one. Those channels didn't necessarily inspire me to start mine, because I've been doing this. I started my stuff before they did, but I haven't ever been consistent at it like they have. So I would almost say that a lot of these channels that that are on YouTube around technology, like they inspire me to want to be more consistent, and because they're consistent and I'm not always very consistent. Is Samsung or Apple better? Oh, you know what? They just announced the Samsung Galaxy S9, and I really want one, even though I don't necessarily think it's going to be anything super fantastic, but I still really want one. It really depends. Like if you want a tablet and you have a Mac, like the iPhone is better, because it's just that the ecosystem they have is fantastic. I did a video on this a little while ago. Like the Apple ecosystem is just second to none. But then the Samsung phones are fantastic. Like they make great phones. But right now, like the Pixel 2 XL is like one of the best Android phones. So it's really hard to say. They all make great products. It just really comes down to what fits your lifestyle the best, I guess you could say. Quick question related to Ethereum. Does the currency have to be mined, or are there other ways to gain Ethereum without directly purchasing it? Pretty much the only ways to get Ethereum is either to have it purchased or gifted to you in one way or another, or to mine it. So you either have to build a mining computer and mine it, or you have to purchase it or be gifted it in one way or another. It doesn't cost any money to go out and get an Ethereum wallet address. So you can go to myetherwallet.com, get an Ethereum wallet for free. Doesn't cost anything. Takes you like seconds, and then you can, somebody can send you Ethereum. You know, so if you have somebody that's really nice and they want to send you some Ethereum, that's really the only other way to get it outside of mining it or purchasing it. But having an Ethereum wallet is completely free. Mining it, you can mine it from, if you have a PC with a GPU in it, you can mine Ethereum. It's maybe not the most effective way to mine Ethereum because of the cost of the electricity of running your PC. But if you live somewhere where electricity is not that expensive, or you're on solar or something like that, then you can mine Ethereum with just a standard PC. And I know I definitely want to do a video on that. I also want to do a video on how to like mine Ethereum with a gaming PC. I have a channel that I'm doing a lot more talking. I'm talking a lot more about mining and all that stuff. It's called Altcast. I'll just type it into the chat real quick so that you have that address if you have not checked that out yet. I think I spelt it correctly. But anyways, I talk a lot more about mining over there. I didn't want to turn StateofTech into like some big channel talking about mining because I know that that's not like everybody's cup of tea. But I definitely have been doing a lot of mining and stuff lately. H3 is also like their podcast. I listen to that. I do like H3. It's great. Yep. Just catching up on the chat. Sorry. So there are a lot of channels I used to watch a lot more of, but because like this year, I decided I wanted to do a lot more content creation. And last year I did a lot of content consumption. So I haven't been watching nearly as much YouTube this last couple of months, but I've been working on like trying to figure out what I want to create and doing a lot more of that. The file manager on Android, definitely so good. I will say though that the fact that the iPhone and the iPad have a file manager now is definitely huge, and it works well. It's still not as good and as useful as the Android one. Android definitely, probably because it's not so tied into, like, you can access Google Drive and whatnot on there, but they don't force your hand. On Apple, obviously, they're kind of like wanting you to have a file manager because they want to sell you more iCloud storage and whatnot. So, yeah. Crusaders or Linfield, I keep seeing posts about that. I don't really know anything about that, so I'm not sure what you guys are talking about. But maybe those are TV channels or something. Do I have a background in tech, or is it just a hobby? So it's kind of both, to be honest with you. Like, I have always been involved in technology, and interested in technology. When I was a little kid, I got a Mac, an Apple II GS for Christmas, and my grandmother thought, like I was probably going to like take it home and maybe like learn how to type better and stuff like that or whatnot. I went home and took it apart, and like I wanted to see what's inside. I wanted to see how the thing worked. She was absolutely furious, but thankfully I got it put back together and it was fine. A couple months later, I upgraded the RAM. I mean, this is when I was in like 6th grade, I think. I put some more RAM in it. I was just like, kind of fooling around with it. I was super interested in that. And so I've never had like a full-time job in technology. Like I don't work in IT or anything like that, but I've always had my hand in it in one way or another, so that I've always, I have a good knowledge of it, not a knowledge of it that somebody who works in that space every single day would have. But If you followed this channel long enough, you can get an idea of my level of expertise, I guess you would say, in technology. Like, I built the streaming computer that I'm using right now. I've set up this entire streaming room. What age is the 6th grade? I would say I was probably, I don't know, maybe 10 maybe. I don't remember now that I think about it. But I was like 9 or 10 years old when I took a computer apart and put it back together. And then maybe it was like a year later. That was in the late 80s, because I'm 38 right now. So I was born in 1980. But anyway, so I've just always been involved in tech because I enjoy it. I like it. I implement tech into what I do for a living. So I own a digital marketing agency. We do website design and stuff like that. You know, so I've always incorporated technology into that. Yeah, I like digging into why things work the way they do, how to use them better, how to make the most out of them. Mobile technology I've been like super into for a lot of years. Hey, see you later, Disturbed Squirrel. Thanks for joining us in the chat. Really appreciate you. So see ya. And everybody else that's in here too. So I don't know if that question is directed towards me about playing GTA 5. But I'll answer anyways. Like, I'm not super into gaming. And I'll tell you why. Not because I have any problem with it. It's just because I suck at gaming. Like, I've just never been really that good at gaming. I'm kind of one of those people that if I'm not like really good at it from the get-go, I get kind of frustrated. Like, I can play a game and like say the game came out, it was a brand new game and a brand new concept for everybody, and we all sat down and started playing it together. I would be like able to be on par with all of you, but the fact that I just never invest enough time to get really good, everybody would get better than me, and then it would get frustrating for me. So that's kind of how gaming is with me. I do have a Nintendo Switch, and I've been kind of playing around over on Twitch by streaming, just kind of testing out this setup and streaming a little bit. I have some young kids. My oldest is 7. Yeah, he'll be 8 in a couple of months. And I have another boy who just turned 6. And so we'll come down and we'll play Nintendo Switch together. Mario Kart, yeah, for sure. Mario Kart definitely is one of my, like, I just love Mario Kart. My kids have been playing Super Mario Odyssey. They love that. I love Ultra Street Fighter 2 on the Switch. So these are like games that I get into, and even though the Switch isn't like super huge on twitch.tv or whatnot, that's what we've been playing. So if you want, I'll put it in here. I don't know how many of you are on Switch or on Twitch, sorry. .tv/Jared Hill. That should be the right link. But if you want to head over to Twitch, we may do some live streaming. I definitely want to do a little bit more streaming around like the gaming space with the Switch. My kids absolutely love it. We have a lot of fun. There's a couple videos of them like just playing, and there's a couple videos of me live streaming as well. So, you know, hey, if you're over there on Twitch, I would appreciate the follow. I would actually just really love it, because it's just about having fun and, you know, playing and enjoying games together. And that's kind of the reason why I'm there. Not because I'm any good or anything like that. But if any of you have any recommendations on people who are, hey, you know what, if you follow me on Twitch, I'll follow you back for sure. I just, you know, not a follow for follow thing. I don't want to be annoying like that. It's just I'm new to that space, even though I've had a Twitch account. I actually had a Justin TV account that got converted to a Twitch account. So I've been on Twitch forever. I just never uploaded or did anything until a week or so ago. But it's fun. Like, I really enjoy it. So if anybody has any recommendations on like people who play like Switch games, Nintendo Switch games, like, I would love that too, because that's kind of my console of choice right now. The Twitch link didn't work. Oh, what did I do? Twitch.tv/Jared Hill. Let me click on it and see what happens. I may not have typed something in right. Is that maybe that's not the right way to like link to somebody on Twitch? To be honest with you, I don't really know, because I'm still so like new to Twitch. Let me make this work and figure it out here. Okay, here's why it wasn't right, because I didn't put www and I didn't put here, let me get it in here. That should work. The URL, I just didn't type it in completely right. Anyways, so you know, James, which I know there's a James in the chat. I'm talking about James, which is an employee of mine, a good friend of mine. He games, and he's, you know, he's good at it. He's not, you know, one of the best out there, but he definitely is good, and he plays games and live streams sometimes to Twitch. He's like the only reason that I really have kind of like any knowledge of any of these games, you know, like Fortnite or like any of these. Yeah, iJustine did start on Justin TV. I was screwing around with live streaming back then. I built this, like, I don't know if any of you know like what Clearwire internet is. I don't even know if it still exists. But I built this, like, this was back when like Starbucks didn't give you free Wi-Fi, like you had to pay for Wi-Fi at Starbucks. I built this like little wireless device out of a Clearwire internet, and I attached a little router to it. It was like one of those little Apple base stations, and I would go into Starbucks and plug that in and like give whoever was there free internet and then use internet myself. But I also like used it in my truck, and so I plugged it in my truck because I had a little AC adapter, so I would have Wi-Fi in my truck, and I would like live stream from pretty much anywhere that I was. Now, I never did anything interesting. I would never, you know, had much of a following, but it was definitely something that was fun and that I played around with. So even up until like a week, like 2 weeks ago, on my Twitch channel, it still said as my description, live streaming from Justin.tv. It like still said that in there. It was really funny. But that's how many years went by. Like, I mean, that was what, like, that was more than 10 years ago. That was like 11 or 12 years ago, that Justin TV was a thing before Twitch was or whatever. So anyways, iJustine definitely, like, she started there. That's when she was live streaming like 24/7, and kind of like when she was really starting to blow up. And it was fun to kind of see what her and some of the other folks that were doing like 24/7 live streaming, like that was super intriguing to me. And I don't know why I never really wanted to live stream 24/7, but it was definitely super interesting to me. And it's one of the reasons why I'm like back here now playing with this, because I have the right equipment for it now. The bandwidth of internet is so much better. The quality of the cameras and, you know, live streaming and everything is so much better. And you could just put out like so much, you know, the quality of content is so much better. So I'm not going to really stream too much longer here. I really didn't plan on like being here for too long. But I wanted to kind of show everybody my setup and just kind of talk about it a little bit. And maybe even just see if anybody had any thoughts or any ideas on, you know, what to do in these live streams in the future. So James is asking, investing in a hoverboard. You know, one of my most popular videos that I did here was on a hoverboard years ago, a couple years ago when they got popular. I did a video on the hoverboard. You know, I still every now and then see one. I saw a kid on one yesterday, but that was like the first time that I'd seen one in a couple of months. I don't really know anything about the hoverboards. What I did get was that little attachment for a hoverboard that turns it into a go-kart, so that you can kind of sit there and you use the handles, and it's kind of like driving a bobcat, like a bobcat tractor. And so you like push forward on them and it makes you go forward, you pull backwards and it slows you down. And you push one in one direction, one the other way, and it spins you around in circles. It's definitely kind of fun, a little sketchy, but it's definitely fun. So Yeah, they were definitely a fire hazard. I was lucky enough not to have one that's a fire hazard. I still have the same one that I had in that video that I did a few years ago, and thankfully it hasn't burned anything down. So, but I definitely did take the top of it off, and I was looking around at the connections and just stuff in there just to make sure that there wasn't anything that was going to potentially be hazardous. And I kind of wanted to see what one looked like on the inside, so I took one apart. So let's see, anything else going on in the chat? Not really. So I think I'm going to end the live chat here. You know, some of you have been in here for a while, and I really appreciate you jumping in the chat and asking some questions. I definitely want to do more of these live streams and hang out with all of you in the chat. I just kind of have to figure out what I want that to look like. What topic I want to, you know, do in this. I've tried different things with this channel over the years, and there was a while I was doing like 5 videos a week on different topics and just trying different things. But I haven't found anything that's just been like something where I can just get in a zone and actually just, you know, something that's easy, not easy, but something that's repeatable, something that adds value, that's fun. And can someone please help me with my maths homework? You know what? I'm decent at math. I'm not amazing at it, but I'm decent at math. But I can't at this moment help you with your math homework. So sorry, James. How many GPUs do I have running? You're probably asking about my mining setup. I have over on that Altcast channel, the YouTube Altcast channel that I linked earlier. I have a video that I put up. It's a mining update video that I just did last week. And so that has video clips and photos and me talking about my entire setup and where it's at right now. So definitely go and check out that link, because that's going to show you what I've got going on. And I'll be doing one later this week because I have a little bit more that I want to share about my mining setup and talk about it a little bit more. So, but I think I have like around 40 GPUs mining right now. I think that's where I'm at. So definitely check out that video. But with that said, I'm going to end the live stream for now. I really appreciate all of you for jumping in and taking part in this. I didn't know if I would have anybody in here at all, and I just appreciate all of you taking time to hang out, and I want to do more of this. So I have typically in the bottom of most videos, it isn't in the bottom of this video, but typically have my social media links and stuff there, and I would invite all of you to hit me up on social media if you have any questions. I would love to communicate with you guys, talk about what matters most in tech to you, and answer any questions, or even just, you know, try and figure out what we can do in the future with this live stream to make it interesting. Before I go, I'll just recap what I have as far as smartphones. I have the iPhone 10, which is my main phone right now. And then I also have the Pixel 2 XL, which is a phone that I just can't let go of. One phone is, I'll go ahead and approve this. It hides people's URLs and stuff like that in the chat. But I love Android and I love the iPhone. And this has been a lifelong, not a lifelong, but as long as these platforms have been available, it's been a lifelong battle for me. I've had an Android phone since the original Google Nexus came out. Actually, I had an iPhone, or I had an Android phone before that, but the Nexus was like my first, like, you know, legit Android phone. And then I had the original iPhone. I've had every single iPhone, even an iPhone 8, which doesn't really make sense to own, but I bought one anyways. And have the iPhone 10, but the Pixel XL, the Pixel 2 XL is just a fantastic phone, and I cannot get away from it. Someone's asking me to do a Fortnite stream. You know what? I may try and do something like in collaboration with James, because I don't necessarily know if that's like his game of choice, but we may do something do something there. Hey, I'm not loaded if you're referencing like, do I have a lot of money? I simply have two different phones because one of them is my business line. The Pixel 2 is my business line, and the iPhone is my main phone. I'm very fortunate enough to have like my own business. We don't, we're not a huge business. We're very small. But hey, that's, it allows me to keep playing with tech, even though I don't get to play with it on the level of some of those other YouTubers because they've got, tons of subscribers and money and stuff coming in, but it definitely allows me to have fun and hang out in here. So anyways, that's going to do it. Hey, once again, huge thanks to all of you for hanging out and chatting. There's at least been like 8 to 10 of you in here the entire time, and I just appreciate that. And this is definitely something that I want to do a lot more of. So let's stay connected. Make sure to click on that subscribe button here. If you haven't, click on the little bell so that you get notified when I go live. I definitely want to do more of that. And if you didn't, head on over to my Twitch channel, my personal one. I'll follow you back, and definitely want to hang out while we play some Nintendo Switch together. So I've got some cool things I'm working on. I'll definitely be sharing those with you more. But like I said, I appreciate all of you for taking your time. I don't take that lightly. The fact that you guys, whatever you're doing, hung out with me here for, 45 minutes or whatever, that just means a lot to me, and I appreciate all of you. So hope to see you back here soon. Have a great rest of your day, and I look forward to hanging out with you guys somewhere here in the near future. Take care, and we'll see you soon.